think you all know me. I'm Josh Mandelbaum. I'm the third ward council member here in Des Moines. And I guess at a high level, what my time in public office has been about is creating a community that works for everyone. And that truly means everyone, and it means a comprehensive approach. It means tackling the biggest problems we face, whether that be housing to climate change, and coming up with a comprehensive approach that actually focuses on solving the problem. And I, in a lot of cases, I have not been afraid to be either the leading voice or a lone voice on our council. On excuse me, on housing, there are folks on this council that take an approach. We've got a ward council member that doesn't want any more affordable housing in his ward, and that's just flat out wrong. And I've been willing to support projects, and even to support projects when I know that they may or may not pass. At the same time that I was fighting against criminalizing homeless members of our community, we had Hope Ministries in front of this council asking to rezone a property in my ward to provide 12 members or individuals who transitioned from and were ready to get out of their shelter and into something more permanent. And they were rezoning a property on Kenyon, just off of Southwest 9th. We had 4 votes in support of that, but it failed because it needed a supermajority of 6. But I was willing to stand up, even though I had constituents who I knew were going to be upset with me because I supported a project like that. But that's part of what you need to do to make this community work for everyone. I've been a voice, a leading voice on sustainability and climate. And I've been defending our sustainability office, which we essentially cut in the dead of night. And I've been looking for solutions to fund that office. But I've also tried to think about how we deal with challenging budget times in a way that that works for everyone in our community. So even though Birdland Pool is not in my ward, I worked with Councilmember Westergaard to figure out a path to make our aquatic services more equitable and keep Birdland Pool open. That's the type of council member that I've been and that I'm going to continue to be. There are a lot of different initiatives that we need to follow through on, whether that be our climate action plan, our complete streets or Vision Zero plan, our urban forest master plan. There are a lot of good things that we've done as a council, but they're only as good as our follow through and implementation. And I'm committed to making the right policy choices and actually implementing them.
Well, thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, just probably get maybe one question into you before we depart, is concerning budget constraints with the city of Des Moines and probably every city in the state. Budget constraints are interfering with services that people depend on. How can the city mitigate the budget shortfalls? And why is the city cutting services instead of downsizing management?
Yeah, so I think everything should be on the table. I don't think our budget process is particularly transparent. So if you're a council member, let alone a member of the public, we get these massive budget books and they're available to the public, but we don't break out categories of spending. So if you're looking to identify areas that could be trimmed, it's almost impossible to tell what those are. For example, we spend almost $1 million a year on travel for city employees. If we're talking about cutting services, maybe we cut our travel budget by 10% or a quarter, and that allows you to save, I was talking about the sustainability office. That would allow the sustainability office to save a staff member if you did that. We haven't reevaluated there are things like the dues that we pay to the Greater Des Moines Partnership. We pay over $100,000 a year to the Greater Des Moines Partnership so that they can lobby us. I mean, think about that. They're one of the most significant groups that lobby the city of Des Moines, and we pay them over $100,000 a year to do that. Now, yes, they're partners, they help recruit economic development, but no other area has been left alone like the Greater Des Moines Partnership. Bravo, CVB are getting cuts, the library, the sustainability office, Parks and Rec, Public Works, police, all have had to trim positions, and we're leaving something like the Greater Des Moines Partnership alone, and we pay 3 times more than any other local government. So it's looking at funding like that in areas where we haven't really examined it closely, where we're just kind of on autopilot, and prioritizing, because we should be prioritizing services rather than things like that. And I think there are opportunities to do more of that.
Josh, we just about have a minute remaining. Let me ask this last question. You've answered part of it earlier on, but what do you see as viable options for affordable housing in the Des Moines area? What can we afford to do?
So we have to build, part of my philosophy is we have to build more housing of all types and at all price points. And some of what that does is it takes housing today that may not be affordable or may not be open, and opens that up as people have more options. But we need to make changes from a zoning and ordinance perspective to make it easier to build all types of housing. So some of that is make it legal by right to build apartment complexes, to build quads and townhomes and missing middle. We've taken steps, for example, with accessory dwelling units, where we're allowing that by right in almost 75% of the city. We should be allowing accessory dwelling units in all of the city. Addressing things like minimum lot size. Those are things that all make it easier to build housing, and take out some of the costs that we're imposing on building housing today. And then when we have development agreements, we should be working affordability into all of them. So anytime that we are providing assistance for a housing project, at least 10% of that project should be meeting affordability, so that we're integrating affordable all over our community and not just isolating it. So
Josh,
a small piece of it, but those are some important pieces.
well, thank you very much, Josh. We are going to have to cut it off there.